My name is Dmitry Bodyu and I'm a pastor from the Ukraine, city called Melitopol, Zaporizhzhia region. And the name of our church is Word of Life. We have a small fellowship on the southeast part of Ukraine. And most of our churches, they are on occupied territories right now or in the war zone. And on the February 24, when the war began, rockets came into our city early in the morning, and we realized that war is started. And our city was taken the first day. So there was a bunch of Russian soldiers and military equipment in our city, and the people were really afraid. So our church, we opened up our church for people to stay there because they were afraid to stay in their houses and their apartments. So we had a lot of people staying in the church, sleeping in auditorium and rooms for children's ministry. We have a lot of kids in our church, so we were feeding them, cooking meals, and most of the time we spend is to find the groceries, find medicine, gasoline for cars, trying to get cash because nothing was working. All the stores was robbed, pharmacies was robbed, gas stations was closed, banks was closed. So people were desperate, and we were doing all this for a few weeks till March 19 when I was arrested. The soldiers came into our house early in the morning, like 6:30, and arrested me and took me into the prison. And I had interrogation pretty much every day. I didn't know how long I'm going to be in prison and what will happen. But in 8 days, they released me because there were so many people were praying about me. I found out about this later. And the news went about my arrest around the world. So many people were helping to get me out. And finally, I got out. But they never let me go. They were coming to my house pretty much every day, talking with me. They really wanted me to work for them and all this crazy stuff. So we decided to move out with my family. And when I tell them that we are going out from Melitopol, they did not allow us to go to Ukrainian territory through the war zone. So they only allowed us to go all the way through Russia. So it took us 7 days to get from Melitopol all the way through Crimea, through all Russia to get to the border with Latvia, and then went to Poland. So it was very scary time, I can say, especially for my children, because I have my children traveling with me. They all growing up, but my grandson, he was 3 at that time. In August of last year, they took our church building from us because all this time we keep having services in our church building. People were coming, we were helping them because our pastoral team was still there, and we at that time we had about like 250 people were still in Melitopol from our church. But this was not the first building, the church building they took. There was another church, they took their building before us, and one other church, they took their building maybe a few weeks after they took our buildings. And they still doing this. They forbidding the church people to meet together, Christians to meet together to worship, because they said you are very strong people, you're very influential people, and we don't like this. We're gonna break you. And so there's a lot of crazy stuff, but we still have our team on the ground working with all of our churches there because we still have a lot of people left, and they supporting these people. We have in the home groups. And our church in Verdansk, they took our church building there also. And you probably all know that there are so many churches are closed right now, but we still have people meeting in the houses. And we had some home groups leaders was arrested also for just a few days and then released. But it's people are devastating there. And we are waiting for Ukrainian army to take those territories back so we can have our church buildings and our ministry back. And we're praying about this. So I just want to say thank you so much for what you're doing and praying with us, helping us any way you can. And we're not only helping with humanitarian help, we're not only preaching the gospel to people and praying with people, but we're looking forward to the future of Ukraine, because we know the Ukrainian will win, and Ukraine as a country will be rebuilt. But what I'm thinking about, that we have to rebuild a church. We have to see the church can be strong and powerful, so we can help those people that are still in Ukraine and people that will be back. And that's why we need to have a strong church. And so please pray with us about that. So I really believe in the church in Ukraine, and I hope that God will give us a victory and give us a strength to be a strong church, courageous church, so we can bring the gospel of Jesus Christ to people, bring his hope, because that's what people really needed. They don't need just our stories, but they need the gospel. So thank you so much for your help. Thank you so much for your prayers, and thank you so much for your support. God bless you.